If only every race was as rich and varied as this 100-minute Bahrain event, we'd all be alright. It had everything. A clapped out qualifying, stomping early gains, collisions, rain, good solid moves, tactical genius and buffoonery combined. It was an endurance race sent from heaven and extremely entertaining, in my opinion. Let me give you the highlights. Cheers to GT Omega for their channel support. Get 5% off with code DanielE. Check the video description for loads more discounts as well. So this is the 100 minutes of Bahrain event in LMU's weekly racing segment. I don't understand what's weekly about it, considering there seems to be multiple time slots over multiple days, but hey ho, I've discovered that I really like them, having done 4 such enduros in just the last 7 days. I'm in my trusty Ferrari 296 and I'm using a setup from Go Setups. It's too early to call whether I like them or not. I've been using LMU's baseline setups for the whole time up until now, would you believe? So the format is 10-minute qualifying and my plan is to do some smooth tyre warming laps to set up 2 hot laps right at the end when they're up to temp, so as not to waste that tyre life. My first flying lap goes poorly with a snap oversteer in the middle sector, but I gather myself up again for the last lap. This also goes poorly. That's what I get for not just doing a string of flat out banker laps and relying on my ability to nail a couple of laps on demand. I end up starting 19th, effectively at the back with a stampede of cars ahead of me, though 4 cars decide to start from the pit lane, so let's call it 15th in real terms. I judge my pace to have been around 3rd or 4th on the grid, so on the one hand this is gutting, but on the other hand I just know that this is going to be a stonker of a race as I try to pick my way through. The race starts and turn 1 is surprisingly clean. Probably has a lot to do with everyone going so slowly through it that we'd get a parking ticket if we'd been there any longer. Up 1 place and lining up the sky blue Mustang while storming up the hill and into braking for turn 4. The 296 personally makes me very confident under braking, which makes me assured that I can steal it even on cold tyres. Exiting turn 4 and I almost have the better of this white Mustang as well, but they don't back down into the middle sector and stay in front through the winding corners. However, they later overplay their hand into the hairpin and that lets me ride the outside of turn 8, giving me the inside for turn 9 and 10. Track geometry does the hard work for me and I'm now up to 11th behind a fellow Ferrari. Clearly struggling with the tyres on the opening lap, they whiff wide of this apex and again further up the road, giving me room to build up some momentum and take the spot under braking into the final turn. Likely playing the long game as there are 98 more minutes to go in this saga. Deep into lap 2, the squad of cars ahead are looking unsettled, which means opportunity for me if I can pick my moment. The Lexus rejoins from another postcode to put him alongside the Mustang. Going too wide through the next sector will slow them down, so I'm on high alert for a chance to pounce, leaving myself with an air gap in front of me in case I can build momentum and pass them on the exit of one of these corners. This sort of situation is all about betting on the right horse, which of these 2 cars is going to push ahead of the other, and can I follow them in. I back off to give myself room to slingshot out of turn 13, and it would have been superb if not for the Mustang's own little moment causing me to have to back out as he suddenly trips up under traction. I'll have to try again. That chance arrives up the hill on the next lap. And once again, braking is a high confidence activity in the Ferrari, allowing me to take that place and lock onto that struggling Lexus that's detached itself from the apex. Swooping into turn 9 and 10, I think I've got a chance here, but I seem to just doink off their door and I'm sent sailing the wrong way round. My recovery is frustrated by reverse gear protection, which takes me ages to overcome and get going again. We're only 10 minutes in, but that was a ton of progress and time that just slipped away. Oh well, now it really is on. This Mustang spots a crowd on the side of a circuit and does what Mustangs do. In 15th, all I can do is get down to it and catch up to the pack. There is rain forecast later in the race. I can recover because who knows what will happen when it starts spitting and people lose their heads a bit. On lap 7, I've caught up to this lovely ocean blue Mustang and they are clearly worse through corners but have the ability to hold me at arm's length on the straights. Even as I occupy their slipstream, it just seems as though almost everyone has a straight line upper hand on me. I take the opportunity to do some lift and coast behind them, as any fuel saved here could shorten my eventual pit stop down the road and let me leapfrog someone at a time. The chance arises to pass on the inside, but even after doing so, they threaten to retake it until the next corner really kicks in. Up to 14th. On lap 11, the next car arrives, that sky blue Mustang. They definitely have similar traits to those that came before, slower through the corners for sure, but it's up to me to pick my moment in areas of higher confidence, momentum into braking zones. A slip up between turn 12 and 13 gives me the invitation I needed. Up to 13th. Lap 16 and here we are behind our Ferrari friend again, but it seems they're already having a hard time of it, getting loose through and out of turn 4, catching me by surprise. They release me straight away, clearly wanting no quarrel. Lap 19, and I'm starting to gain the scent of the next cars ahead, but earlier than I expected, the drizzle has arrived. Now the thing about rain is that the mere suggestion that the track is being rained on can really disrupt some people's driving, even if the track is nowhere near wet. And sure enough, it immediately compresses these three cars ahead together. I poach the BMW into turn 4, under braking. The Porsche seems to be the one that's most disturbed by the rain on the windscreen, and in fairness, there is a drop of greasiness under the tyres at this point. They suffer a loose car out of turn 15, causing a snap, a check-up and a slap up the back bumper from me, allowing the BMW to unpoach itself. Lovely. I still managed to hang on and peel the position away from the Porsche at the start of lap 21 with a track that's still workable on slicks but is slowly getting worse. Into lap 22, the two BMWs ahead are now starting to grapple more directly with each other. I've been lifting and coasting for a little while to give myself the option of an additional lap before my pit stop if I want it, because everyone's going to be coming in for fuel some point soon. If the slicks are still faster at that point, an extra lap out on them could help me out. Up the hill into turn 4, the pair get very physical and shoulder barge each other well wide, but I have my own little traction moment coming out of it, which prevents me from securing that spot against the purple BMW, who leaps ahead into the twisty bits. They are very slow through the very slow corners, but they're being feisty with each other, and I'm taking the opportunity to save fuel for a shorter pit stop rather than make any risky moves on a deteriorating track. The purple BMW decides he would like to make a risky move on a deteriorating track. He pays the price for it. My pace feels very strong relative to the other cars around me right now. If I could ban wet tyres, then I would. But it's only a matter of time before the crossover point where wets will be faster. But for now, confidence is high and I'm making moves, with that second BMW getting griddled by me into turn 13, where I felt very strong all race. However, that straight line disadvantage bites me back. The M4 chips the place back off me and creeps away from me down that pit straight, with that lime green Porsche shadowing him through. Both of them completely misjudged turn 1 braking though, but it's not enough to be clear, and the M4 man spreads across turn 2, forcing me off into the sand. LMU's penalty system detected the illegal pass and forces me to give the place back. Still, my pace is strong. I'm chipping the paint off their bumper the rest of the lap, and I once again swipe the place through turn 13. Stayed down this time. I pull out a 2-second gap to them once I'm ahead by the time I'm there on the next lap. But now the empty tank leader has pitted and switched to wets, with everyone else forced to pretty much follow suit to top up the tank. A convenient crossover point. Lap 26, the whole grid is now on wet tyres. Time to see if that advantage that I had on slicks is no more. The McLaren in 7th place seems to be struggling a lot, crumbling towards me on the time board. Only that's when I noticed that they're on slicks still. Maybe intentional, maybe they're hoping for the rain to be short-lived. It's something that I might have tried to do on a coin flip, so I can't really blame them, but it's not the right move today. Next up the road is the Lexus from that incident in the beginning. I'm chopping about a second out of them every lap on average, and soon enough, on lap 32, they are within number plate licking range. They choose not to contest it. A reasonable move considering I've demonstrated that I'm clearly enjoying this rain more than they are right now. If they're not comfortable in the wet, then fighting someone else is only going to make that worse. Strategy is as important as speed, and their strategy is to avoid that risk. Next is another McLaren, which again I was reining in at around a second per lap. I make my move into turn 1, and this time it's my turn to clatter doors and take up space, sealing the overtake with a sick little drift to assert dominance and make sure they know how cool I am. Up the road is another Lexus that I seem to be closing in on at a fast rate, and here's why. They're checking what's behind them. Good for them, they stayed frozen to the spot, allowing me and the McLaren to avoid them. And just like that, suddenly I'm 4th. From miles back in 15th, struggling to engage reverse. What a brilliant comeback and a fun journey back for the field. This is endurance racing at its best from a driving point of view. So entertaining, and I'm safely in the top 5. Time to place it all under unnecessary risk. That rain has long stopped at this point, and at times there is what looks like a visual dry line on the floor. There's no spray being kicked up, and the temperatures of these wet tyres are a little bit high. There's still around 15 minutes of a race left to run. If slicks are faster, they tend to be much faster, and I'm getting the impression that the track is dry enough for it. I'm doing it. Lap 40, a quick tyre change to slicks and dash out again. I'll be 4 or 5 seconds faster than everyone else. When they all witness my incredible pace, everyone's gonna panic pit or stay out and get demolished under the weight of my genius. It's foolproof. Yeah, nah, nope, what a terrible idea. Everything is still greasier than a window wiped with a cheeseburger. What was I thinking? I had 4th in the bag. Now I'll be looking to keep it nose forward for the rest of the race. Time to tap into the sunk cost fallacy and just push forward. It's not pretty. I've already dropped from 4th to 7th in the pit lane. Now 8th is catching me so fast that even if their car wasn't blue, it'd be blue shifted from my point of view. I'd cry, but that'd only make the track wetter, and I don't need that right now. With less than 10 minutes to run, it almost looks like the world is healing because the gap between me and that Mustang has now stabilised. The track may now be coming to me. Time to push a little bit harder and... no, not like that. So my gamble has cost me 4 places, and with only 5 minutes to go, there's no time to even reap the benefit if there was one. If I could stick a fiver in the machine to put 20 more minutes in the race, I would, but it's nearly over. However, in my rearview mirror is the race leader coming to lap me. This would be a good opportunity to tail them and see how my pace is relative to the supposed fastest guy on track. Strategically, I'm not going to recover from this, but I can extract a moral victory from this if I'm the fastest guy on the track right this sec. Oh, nah, they're gone. They're gone. And so it's the last lap, the final lap, and 7th place is being pulled towards me, and the track is definitely now slick worthy. My pace has risen like a phoenix in the last few moments, but there's only half a track left to go. I'm still going to try. Slicks are so much faster than wet tyres, but there's still a possibility. Even the race leader has now slid back into touch, but it's not the Lambo I want, it's the Ford. Like it was called down from on high, a last-minute hypercar, the only one running at this point, comes in to spread some chaos. I hang back to set up some momentum, and I cannot believe it, I actually have the run on that crazy horse. I cross the line a mere foot ahead of them to thieve the place off them at the close of a 100-minute endurance race. 1 point... How long's that? 100 minutes... 1.66 hour recurring endurance, yeah, that's it. 1.66 hour endurance race across 46 laps of a partially rainy Bahrain. Simply brilliant. And guess what? This enduro just rains chaos down even when the race is over. Apparently, I finished behind the Mustang. Clearly, my virtual mechanic left my virtual timing transponder in the boot instead of on the nose. Either way, this is the biggest injustice since the sale of Cadbury's. What a race. As endurance races go, 100 minutes isn't actually the longest, but it's plenty of time to pack a lot of stuff in, especially with the chaos factors of a terrible qualifying and a sprinkle of desert rain. Sprints and enduros are fundamentally different in what they're all about and how they feel. Both are brilliant, but my heart is in the longer races because of everything you've just seen. Not all of them are belters like this, but a lot of them have been. Highly recommend it, and thanks for watching.